Welcome to another Atchman Kings of War Battle Report, a 2,300-point battle featuring the Ratkin Slaves versus the forces of nature. The scenario for today is Dominate. I've been working on a Ratkin Slave army for a while. I do use a lot of models that probably aren't really Ratkin Slave-y. Like my rocket launchers are actually old Skaven mortars, but I thought that was pretty close to what they should be. The nice thing about the new Ratkin Slaves list is that the warriors unlock at least, and so that lets you have a little bit more flexibility in the list than that was in the past. It was really limited in the past. This list starts off with a legion of wretches with a staying stone and last breath, 2 hordes of slave warriors, 2 rocket launchers, 2 regiments of vermintide, a horde of nightmares with the blessing of the gods, 3 regiments of tunnel runners, 1 with brew of sharpness, caterpillar, and strider, Golok Skinflayer, 2 abyssal half-breed champions, 1 with a mournful blade and 1 with a blade of slashing, and lastly a slave driver with the warbow of Kaba. I am not exactly sure what is in this Forces of Nature army, but I do know these things are there. 2 hordes of Salamander Primes, 4 troops of Hunters of the Wild, 2 Beasts of Nature, they were maxed out with wings and swings, as I call it, a Greater Earth Elemental, 2 hordes of Earth Elementals. These are actually in the battle are Forest Shamblers. We just proxied them in there. Craig has got his Earth Elementals printed up, but just hasn't had them a chance to actually mount them yet. I think he's actually already painted. A Druid, and he had some spells, Salamander Hero, and then a Unicorn with Heal 5. I think Craig was pretty heavy on heal. I think he may have even gave the Druid the Shroud so that he could heal even more. For some reason, I did not take the detailed pictures of my deployment, but I'll just go through it anyway. On this very close side here is a unit of tunnel runners, and then Golok, and then another unit of tunnel runners. I set them up in that terrain because one had Strider and one had the Potion of the Caterpillar, so I should be able to zip right through that. Then the Wretch Legion is there, and next to the Wretch Legion in between is the rocket launcher, and then a unit of warriors, another unit of warriors, and then the nightmares. And on the very end, I had 2 regiments of vermintide and the last unit of tunnel runners. In retrospect, I should have just put them all together right here, but I didn't know what he was going to put on the other side of the table. But the big thing here is I had a significant speed advantage here on this right flank. And with shambling units over on his right flank, I should be able to swing the door very, very quickly on his army. Craig set up fairly tight centrally with his army. He was using the 4 troops of Hunters of the Wild for thick chaff to slow me down. And, of course, with Ratkin Slaves, if regular Ratkin can't freaking hurt them, rolling for 5s and 5s to wound them. Down here on this end, he had both of his units of Salamander Primes. One of the Beaster Natures behind it. He had his hero, the Salamander hero, and I think it gives his unit aura of elite. Right in the middle, he did have his Unicorn with some spells there, and we'll go detailed review on the other side. Like I said, he's set up really tight together. He had behind the Salamander Primes was the Unicorn, and in front of them, of course, was a unit of Hunters of the Wild. Over on this extreme little box regiment here, he had a unit of Hunters of the Wild in front, and then the Earth Elementals to its flank to the right. And then back is the Greater Earth Elemental, and then the other Beast of Nature is there. And I believe, right behind the Hunters of the Wild is yet another unit of Earth Elemental. So this is like the elemental group here. And snuck back in there in that little corner is the Druid that's going to surge them to victory. This is the only real picture I have of the first turn. Craig got the first turn and moved forward. The dice are at the edge of my charge ranges there. So this is kind of where he ended up on the first turn, moving forward into toward all my tunnel runners. You can see here, this is a little bit wider shot, but you can see that basically all the Hunters of the Wild are forward, trying to draw stuff out of the chaff. And then one of his Beast of Nature snuck up in between them. And we measured, and none of my tunnel runners could get into the hole and actually hit that guy, even though he was in charge range early in the game. So one of the things I realized in this game is I had a huge speed advantage over on this right flank. And I wasn't going to mess around. So his Beast of Nature get in and do some wicked stuff. So I just slammed everything. I slammed 2 units of tunnel runners into that one little troop of Hunters of the Wild, and then Golek is, believe it or not, nimble, and that's his big giant death wheel there that he's riding around on today. But I do have a model for him that I'm going to paint, and hopefully I'll be able to showcase it pretty soon. But I did not waste any time in attacking, trying to get my speed advantage, because I realized that those elementals over there are eventually going to catch up on that flank. But if I could knock this flank out very quickly, then maybe I could spin and go after them. So over here in the middle, I actually zoomed my Abyssal Half-Breed Champion into his Unicorn, who had moved up too close with the Hunters of the Wild. So I got a good charge out there, and just wanted to mess with it, keep her from throwing a heal or a lightning bolt or whatever it had. I did not know at the time. So my guys came to the top of the hill, my Nightmares, and then the other Abyssal Half-Breed Champion, he comes up to the top of the hill as well, just being able to peek over. The rest of the stuff kind of echelon, as you can see there, because his stuff isn't fast. I mean, over here, those things on the far left are shamblers. They can't do it. They can't move very quickly. So there's no reason to go get up there and shorten that distance between me and them. So I'm just going to kind of stay echelon like this. And if something kind of jumps in that hole, I can at least flank charge them, despite how pathetic Ratkin Slaves are. I don't know why I elected to just go straight through this stuff. I mean, what I should have done on the first turn was move those tunnel runners 16 inches straight ahead, move the other guys as far as they had, and because he couldn't get to me. I mean, even turning and surging, he was not going to be able to get to my flank. And that would have totally turned the battle around if I would have done that. Instead, I'm going to end up slogging through that field, which is not a good idea. So yeah, the Hunters of the Wild were rolled into the ground, and then I was able to make 2 nice successful back rolls. I rolled the first unit on the left back, and they went back to the whole 3 inches. And that's going to keep me from getting flanked. And then the other unit, I felt I was in the front, so I just went ahead and angled it, knowing that I had Golek over there on one flank, and then the other wheels here on whatever unit charges me in their left flank. So really a nice trap setup here. So Craig here moved his Salamander Primes and charged my middle unit of tunnel runners, trying to get at least rid of one of those units. The Hunters of the Wild go ahead and charge into the Legion of Ratkin Slaves, and the other unit of Salamander Primes start coming this way to help. I really think that this was a mistake charging me. One thing about Salamander Primes is they're pretty good, but since they hit on 4s, they're real squishy. And Crush 1, I mean, there was probably no way that this unit was going to work. But I would have actually backed up, and the reason why I would have backed up is because I could wait for the other unit to come up and reinforce me, or I could send the Earth Elemental over. But Craig saw it this way, and I mean, I see what he's trying to do. Just maybe he gets rid of the first one, then I'm in trouble. As you can see on the other end of the line, all the elementals started moving up as fast as they could, and then his Salamander Primes did go over to reinforce his left flank, because, like I said, I had him outmatched over there pretty steeply. The Hunters of the Wild go ahead and charge into my horde of slave warriors. Like I said, hitting on 5 sucks, wounded on 5 sucks. I mean, it takes it all day to get rid of a unit of Hunters of the Wild, or a thick chaff unit with slave warriors. But their job is just to hold stuff up anyway. It's not necessarily to kill anything. But even blades, even a loot would have felt really handy over here in this game with so much armor 5 and 6. So if you look right at the end of the wall there is a unit of his Earth Elementals charging into my Abyssal Half-Breed Champion, who was at one time had been fighting the Unicorn. I made a mistake earlier. It's actually 2 troops of Hunters of the Wild that charge into my unit of slave warriors. Of course, one of them was hindered because of the wall, so that helps a little bit, even though that army is pretty much hard to disrupt. But a wall is a wall, and that was a big thing for me. That's why I wanted to be there, so they had to cross it to get to me. So I was trying to get up some reprisal. The Beast of Nature goes in and tries to kill my rocket launcher, and of course easily does with triple attacks. The other beast of nature flies behind my warriors there, and of course right next to the nightmares and the other abyssal half-breed champion, who is going to, you're going to watch, this guy's going to dominate the battlefield here for a while. Craig's Salamander Primes do 7 to the Tunnel Runners, which is very respectable. You can see down here on the bottom left, that's the Beast of Nature. It is now turned around after it devastated the Kadashan rocket launcher. The irony of this game is that my Abyssal Half-Breed took like 9 wounds, I think, and did not die and was not wavered, so he could go off and do what he wants to do next turn. That was a good thing. The other units did cause a little bit of damage to the hordes, but I mean, they're hordes. They could take a lot of hits. So the Tunnel Runners with the Potion of the Caterpillar, no, it's the one with the Strider, goes into the flank of the, no, it was the Potion of the Caterpillar, goes into the flank of the unit of Salamander Primes. Golek goes into the front of them, and that's going to put some hurt on that unit, I'm pretty sure. So the Legion of Wretches go back into the Hunters of the Wild. They had done 7 wounds to me, which is very respectable on the previous turn. And then the unit of Hunters, the regiment, the horde of warriors and a fresh horde of warriors go into the Hunters of the Wild troop that's on the left. I think they were wavered last turn. The remarkable thing was that the Abyssal Half-Breed champion disengaged from the Earth Elementals and went over and attacked his Salamander captain. And that was going to be pretty cool. I had the Mournful Blade, but I was going to be hindered, so it didn't really matter. So I probably made a mistake here. I turned my Nightmares around in case I could shoot at something that was coming toward me next turn. Like I said, I shouldn't even have done it. But the Abyssal Half-Breed champion goes beating into that Beast of Nature, and I think wavered it. I think I hit 6 times and did 6 wounds. So pretty nasty whacks on that thing. You know, for some people, snake eyes happen, in inconsequential times. For me, it's always the most important turn. If I would have blown through these guys, I really think the game would have been over in another turn and a half. But instead, I get snake eyes, and that means I'm going to lose one of these units. And that's why I don't like the rule. It's the fact that, okay, you get it, but then you lose whatever attacked you. Or I've had as many as 4 units killed after a snake eyes. So that's why I don't like the rule. It takes a lot of the tactical finesse out of the game and just replaces it with luck. So, of course, I rolled it, so I can't blame anybody else but me. The Legion of Wretches managed to one-shot the Hunters of the Wild troop. I know that doesn't seem like much, but, I hit on 5 and wound on 5s. And so it takes all 30 swings there to make it happen. Like I said, this game missed having a Bane Chant, guys. So I may have to rearrange the list to give the Slave Driver Bane Chant. I don't know what to take off, but I probably could have figured it out. Yeah, I totally screwed up his flank. I mean, like I said, early in the game, I should have just been going straight ahead with the wheels. And then at turn 3, turn and just come rolling down the line. But I didn't do it, and I sent the Vermintide this time to mess with the Earth Elementals that were standing there next to the Greater Earth Elemental. So this time, just wanted to show you the picture where I wavered the Beast of Nature with 6 swings and 6 hits. Instead of charging the one that backs one of my other units, he goes ahead and charges his other Beast of Nature into the front of the Nightmares. I know what's going to happen because there's surging units approaching, but really can't do much about it. And that's why I said that's where I screwed up this whole thing. I should have been not there anyway. I should have been ahead somewhere else. But you never know these things sometimes. I mean, it seemed like the right time in case the Abyssal Half-Breed did not kill that thing, that I could take all those shots at it at short range like that, and probably take it down with shooting. But it was just a risk. It didn't pay off. His unit of Earth Elementals charged into the one that wasn't over on the defending against my wheels over there, charges into the other horde of warriors. And kind of the worst thing that you could be fighting if you're elementals like that is a whole bunch of stuff that adds up to nothing, especially when you're hitting on 4s and wounding on 3s. It takes a while to knock down a horde of even these junk units like this. Over here, because of the snake eyes, his Salamander Primes recharged the middle unit of Tunnel Runners, and then the Salamander Hero runs off because he has elite, so he's trying to stay within range of those 2 Salamander Prime units. And so they charge into the Abyssal Half-Breed. They charge him in the rear, not that it matters. Yep, there went almost 300 points of units because of one stupid dice roll. I'm going to be able to get him back next turn, but the point being is that if I would have killed him when I should have, then I would have been slamming those 3 into that other unit of Salamander Primes that are facing the Abyssal Half-Breed champion. And you can see that he was wavered by the Salamanders, which was fortunate for me. I'm going to have to say that was a lucky dice roll for me. And I whine about the snake eyes, but I had several great dice rolls this game that, almost make up for it. The Earth Elementals did an ungodly amount of damage this turn. I did manage to kill one of those units of Hunters of the Wild previously, and so if I was going to charge into the other one, I'm going to be the hindered one this time. All right, this was like the dumbest move of the damn game. I charged the Brew of Sharpness guys into his Earth Elementals, and one of the units of Vermintide into him as well. The problem was that he had heal. I was going to be if he didn't have heal right there, I could have chipped away at him and maybe got him. But he's going to spike a dice roll on me next turn and just knock the wheels into Kingdom Come. Speaking of mixed luck, this last turn I actually killed the other Beast of Nature outright in 2 rounds. Bam, bam, dead. My Nightmares countercharged this Beast of Nature and did 9 freaking wounds, but didn't get a Waiver or a Destroy. Now that's going to allow the Greater Earth Elemental to hit me in the flank, and this is where the game gets interesting, if you know what I mean. So it's time to take out the other Salamander Prime Horde. The Legion of Wretches charge in, hindered of course, so they need 6s. And then the Tunnel Runners with the Potion of the Caterpillar charge in to them as well. And Golek decides, instead of charging in, he just decides he's going to make a trip around the side since he's nimble and be able to finish him off if they don't finish him off this turn. Yeah, Craig managed to waver my Tunnel Runners over there. That was bad. The cool thing here, as you can see, is that my it's not cool that my Nightmares are not there anymore. But what's cool is that Abyssal Half-Breed champion killed his second Beast of Nature. So now he's accounted for like 450 points of Craig's army all by himself. So the reason I'm showing you this picture is that these slaves that are here, slave warriors, actually kill that unit of Hunters of the Wild this turn and turn toward the other side. Now what you don't see in the picture is the Greater Earth Elemental destroying that unit of other unit of warriors, and then the other Earth Elementals in the front. It was a bloodbath. I want to say this is Craig's turn 6. The Greater Earth Elemental goes in and just knocks the crap out of the slave warriors. The Earth Elementals actually had to attack the silly Abyssal Half-Breed champion, and I do believe they killed him. But he just was a pain in the entire game. It was just like he's doing immortal things during this game. So yeah, I did destroy the unit of Salamander Primes there, and then the Crystal Pendant goes off. I took just a ton of damage on my Tunnel Runners, but you know what? It didn't matter. I was devastated. It didn't matter. Do you know why? Because Craig had nothing to do. They could even shoot at me to get me to make the test. So I was good to go here, even though, a stiff breeze would have knocked me over. I hated having to take that damage, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been, I suppose, because if he would have had some shooting attacks to shoot at me, God, one lightning bolt would have won the game for him. So in my turn 6, everything cruises into the middle of the table to score. I only had one non-scoring unit in the game, and that's the slave driver there who's supporting the lines. So I have, I think, 2 for the, or maybe even be 3. It's 3 for the Warrior Horde, 4 for the Legion, so that's 7. The wheels are only 2, so that's 9. Golek is 10, and the Vermintide is 11. So for Craig, he had both hordes of Earth Elementals left. That's going to give him 6. The Greater is going to give him 7. The Unicorn does not have a unit strength, so that gives him nothing. So the final score of the game was 11-7, victory to the Ratkin Slaves. I know it doesn't look like this game was that close, but on the other hand, if there would have been a turn 7, it would have been game over. I would have, at the best, I could have got a draw. if he would have had a lightning bolt on that unicorn on turn 7, or even at turn 6, he would have won the game. It was really down to the end. It didn't seem like it was, but it really was. I mean, turn 7, I lose. I can't see how I could win on turn 7. But thankfully, the game ended at turn 6, and the Ratkin Slaves were able to pull it out, despite some pretty tragic mistakes that I made during the game. I really like how the Ratkin Slave Army plays. I mean, I play Skaven, or Rats, or Skaven, whatever you want to call them. I've been playing them for years, over a decade easily. And I really like. I'm in tune with how they play, the spacing, the speed, how everything works with them. It's really kind of my thing. The Tunnel Runners add a whole dimension of the game. It really gives you the ability to alpha strike with rats, which is a strange thing. Only thing that would make this Ratkin Slave Army is to have hack paws in it, so you could have some fast chaff too to go along with all the Tunnel Runners. So just a wicked army in some ways. They made Golek Skinflayer so much better in the latest Clash of Kings, because he has Rally 2 for slaves, and so that means that those Doom Wheels are literally 16-18 with all their nasty attacks coming across the table. So that is really good, and I just think that that's such a powerful combo. I really wish I would have kept all 3 wheels together, sets of wheels together, plus the other one, and then the new Death Engine Spewer thing. That thing's amazing too. I just didn't have the points for it in this game. I mean, I guess I could have, but I mean, I would have had like 8 drops, if I would have had that thing in the game. So anyway, really, I think the biggest thing I messed up was over on the left flank. I didn't even have to attack over there. That was what was dumb about it. I mean, all I had to do was just keep messing around, so Craig could just kept playing, just kept spinning in a circle with me circling him with 3 units. Instead, I go straight into him. He instantly kills me, and then it goes pear-shaped from there, and made the game probably a lot closer than it could have been, because my idea was to attack him over there on that side and just to keep him from getting within 12 inches of the middle. But he killed me so fast with the Earth Elementals that it didn't matter. I mean, it was like bam, bam, and I basically did nothing. And then he healed back the nothing that was left. So it wasn't good. All the little slaves and wretches and all that stuff, they're worthless. But you know what? You got to kill them all. And that horde, I mean, that legion of worthlessness there with a slave master standing near them, they're actually got a decent morale. I mean, it's not great, but you still got to chew through them. And most people can't one-shot them. So that's the big thing is there. And what can you say about those Abyssal Half-Breed champions? Are you kidding me? They won the game. I mean, if I hadn't had those, I would have lost easily. I mean, they wiped out all of Craig's flyers, all of them. Just about wiped out the 2 winged beasts, and then I almost killed his unicorn, which is a flyer as well. So that was lethal. I mean, that was just those guys were lethal. I'm thinking in my 2,000-point army, I'm actually going to jack one of them up to the Blade of the Beast Slayer to go along with the Mournful Blade. And that way, when those stupid Earth Elementals and stuff come out there, he can go out there and, he might be able to do that, hit 6 times and do 6 wounds on an Earth Elemental with the Blade of the Beast Slayer, because he's got Crush 2 to begin with. So just a devastating model. And I think I have to have 2 in every game from now on that I could possibly have them in. And that's even in my Abyssal Dwarf army that I want to have them. So I like this list. I mean, could I get rid of the rocket launchers? Probably, but it gives me something to do in the shooting phase. And the rocket launchers just suck. I don't even know why they're in the game. Give me a damn mortar, instead of the rocket launchers. But I mean, they're basically to knock out chaff. And then you've been playing so many games lately against people who heal or regenerate that it's almost pointless to shoot anyway, which is why I usually don't take shooting. I may have to look and see what I could take for those 2, because that's 170 points. I could have another legion of wretches if I felt like, felt that was important to me. And I easily have the models to do it, so it's not that big a deal that direction either. Anyway, well-fought game. Craig did a good job. The only thing I really thought that over here on his left flank, I really thought he should have backed up, even though he knew I was going to charge the hell out of his Salamander Prime unit. it would have been closer to him so he could have actually support it and got somebody else into him. I think that would have been the key to there, because now basically they just got fed in one at a time and killed one at a time. The snake eyes was the only salvation of the whole thing. That's what basically made it a better move than it was the fact that when I rolled poorly, it just disrupted my plans, because I think I would have went through that unit, went straight to the next unit, did the same thing to him, just bam, 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 and then I would have been behind him. So I don't know. It just looked like to me that maybe that the best thing would have been, even if because you're going to die anyway, why not back up and make them die closer to some unit that can kill them on the next turn or help you out. So I don't know. That was on my thought. Now the army list, I love that army list. I'm starting to see that I don't like the Earth Elementals as much as I thought I did because of their speed. They just lag behind everything. And I had the same thing in my list, but usually I put mine right in the middle. I put them right and just start marching forward. Like, you have to deal with them. I would never put them on the end, marching around like that. I was going to put them straight up the damn middle. And, you want to attack them. And that's the way that I play Earth Elementals. I just put a wall of rocks across the middle of the table and say, come on, I don't care. And then I could put my faster stuff on the ends, and not worry about it, because they could take a charge from anything. It doesn't matter what it is. So, that's the beauty of those things, is that you should never put them out on a flank like that. They should be right in the middle, walking across the table, and then you can use your fast stuff to defend them and just channel things into them, so they have to fight them head to head. Even the thing that's funny is that on the Earth Elementals, having somebody with Bane Chant is probably better than actually having somebody with heal there, where you could have like a heal 2, if you're not doing anything else better that turn. But Bane Chant would help them out a lot, because they would have been hitting on 4s and wounding on 2s against my little guys, and that would have went through them a lot faster than that 4s and 3s thing. So I'm thinking that Bane Chant would have been a better thing on the Druid instead of having so much heal. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But I do like the list. I've used one almost identical to it, and I love it. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the battle report. And you don't see very many Ratkin Slave battle reports, and so I hope this one is of interest to you. Thank you so much.